point out, the only two that Auburn has won have happened in Auburn, Alabama. We are ready to get underway from the Plains. Auburn serving first, and it's Peyton White, the junior libero, defensive specialist, that will get things started for the Tigers, and it's Florida on the board first.
And right off the bat, a perfect pass for Florida allows Marley Monserrat to set up Lauren Dooley. She has had a breakout sophomore season.
Well, Auburn struggling to get that one back over, and that will be another point for Florida. Thayer Hall, sophomore, 6'3", outside hitter from Spartanburg, South Carolina. We mentioned her to start this game, a 6-rotation player for head coach Mary Wise. She puts the ball in play. On the opposite side, Holly Carlton with the kill.
And Holly Carlton is a 6'7" opposite. She's also left-handed, so that can be a little bit different for blockers when they're trying to line up properly. Now, Carlton loves that sharp cross shot, so we'll see if Auburn makes an adjustment.
Auburn not able to handle that one as it goes off the hands of Tatum Shipes. Florida with another point. When I talked to Auburn head coach Rick Knoll today, he said, we have got to go after Florida. We can't allow them to get into system, and Auburn just has not been able to do anything so far to get them out of system, especially when it comes to passing.
Oh, and Mary Wise talked about how much they've improved with scoring from behind the service line, and we're seeing that right now from Thayer Hall.
Thayer Hall finally healthy, which Mary Wise says she is a reliable point scorer and is just playing at a high level right now for them.
Auburn finally able to side out. They got a good pass. They were able to run a double quick as they have a former middle in the opposite. Chesney McClellan got the kill.
Bella Rosenthal in the libero jersey for the Auburn Tigers tonight. Back set, there's the big left-hander with a kill.
And that time, Holly Carlton went to the deep corner. So when you have a player that will mix up where she's hitting the ball, you can't just go into one spot. And you saw there were two defenders right there for Auburn, but she hit it deep enough where it was out of their range.
A nice pass from Hall. Deep shot from Paige Hammonds. Auburn able to send it back as a free ball. What will Florida do with it? They will feed their big middle. And that one is going to be outside of the antenna.
You talked about feeding the big middle. Rachel Kramer is 6'8". And so you've got a setter in Marley Monserrat who's listed at 6 foot. So she's got to be really good at getting that ball high enough where Rachel Kramer can get a full reach and swing.
Rachel Kramer has been phenomenal lately, hitting .474 in the last 7 matches for the Gators.
The middle attack seems to be working for Auburn, so when they get a pass and they can set up their middles, that time it was Shayna White getting the kill, it's working for them. So that first contact, very important.
A big block from the middle from Auburn. What can they do with it? Morgan Cull to the outside. A changeup from Tatum Shipes, and that one will fall.
Great shot by Tatum Shipes. Very, very sharp. She just put it in the one spot that Allie Gregory couldn't reach. Allie Gregory's a phenomenal defender, so Shipes had to put that perfectly.
I was going to say, there's not a lot of spots that Allie Gregory cannot reach. Another kill from Shipes, and that's back-to-back in the back corner.
And Tatum Shipes has been the constant for Auburn this season. She's carried a lot of the offensive load. That time you see her going to that deep cross-court corner. It's a really good shot for attackers to hit because it is tough to defend.
Shipes going for the inline there and just misses it. Florida will get the ball back. They lead by 4. Holly Carlton, Richard Jr. from Sterling, Virginia, North Carolina transfer from Florida, with an ace.
An unfortunate mistake for Bella Rosenthal. That ball was going out of bounds. Her teammates were calling it out too, but she just couldn't get out of the way in time to not touch it.
Cull pushes it outside. That one will go long. Another point for Florida.
And that first contact, again, not great for Auburn, and that's going to force Rick Nold call an early timeout.
Well, this is the first set. Florida leading 10-4.
It's true. Here we do not do what others do, and we do it more.
Welcome back to Auburn, Alabama, as Florida leads this first best of 5, 10-4. Dig from Auburn. That ball will go out. Point Florida.
Auburn trying to get the ball to the middle. Shayna White just hit it out, but that's because she has two big blockers in front of her. Rachel Kramer at 6'8" and Paige Hammonds at 6'1". She was trying to get around them.
Now Florida this season, speaking of that big block, outblocking their opponents 235 to 145 this year. Morgan Cole, the setter for Auburn, trying to change things up. Send one over on 2. Nice up from the Gators. Thayer Hall results in a free ball. And again, Cole, this time, that ball goes down.
Morgan Cole will choose the right time to go over on 2. She pushed it a little bit beyond the 3-meter line too, so those two defenders that kind of stay in there to help pick that up, it was a little past them, the middle back defender not ready for it.
The perfect pass from Florida, nice dig from Bella Rosenthal. And the back row attack coming from Tatum Shipes is down.
And that's the kind of stuff we've seen from Tatum Shipes all season long. She really has been the offensive go-to for Auburn in the front row and the back row.
Coach Nold had said she's also maybe their best passer over the last 3 games. So Tatum Shipes leading the Tigers in kills with 3 so far tonight, certainly getting it done for Auburn.
Paige Hammonds that time mixes in the tip shot. We haven't seen that much early on in this one, so when she put that in there, it's a great time to go off speed.
Paige Hammonds, the junior from Louisville, Kentucky, leads the team in aces this season right now with 33. 6 rotation player. You pointed out one of the keys for Florida is their outsides.
Well, for Auburn, it's all running through the middle. When they're feeding the middles, they are scoring. So that first contact becomes so important because the ball's got to be up at the net where Morgan Cole can set the middle.
This is an Auburn team that is 0-14 in the SEC with just 4 games left. And this is a scrappy team that clearly has not given up. And that's a testament to Rick Nold and also a testament to his team and his players.
And even Mary Wise said that to us when we talked earlier in the weeks, just how hard the players are playing, and they're fighting and battling every match they play, and the coaches are making adjustments, and they're still in this. And she said, a lot of times teams down the stretch when they're not playing for an NCAA tournament bid, they play free. And so
they play loose. They got nothing to worry about.
Yep. And so, anytime you're going up against Florida, I think there's some nerves for any team. You're having to face a block like this.
That's what I was going to say. Look at that block.
Yep. So, there's going to be some nerves that come with that. But, Auburn definitely still scrapping out there.
Yeah, that block, Thayer Hall, number 20, 6'3", and then you've got Lauren Dooley, number 99, 6'6", in the middle. That's it. That's a tough block to get around.
Serving forward, number 11, Morgan Cole.
Morgan Cole, the junior setter from Illinois, puts the ball in play for Auburn. Shipes trying to send that tip over, but will get called for it.
Yeah, back row attack. She stepped on the 3-meter line. So that you can land in front of the 3-meter line, you just have to take off behind it.
Marley Monserrat, sophomore setter out of Florida. The third Monserrat sister to come through the program. Sets up her left-handed hitter, Holly Carlton, and that one just long.
And Holly Carlton just couldn't find her rhythm in the match against Kentucky this past weekend. She's someone that does have the ability to score quite a bit for Florida, but she was missing a lot against Kentucky.
Service error for Auburn will give Florida the ball back. They lead this first set 16-9. We played best of 5 sets, rally scoring the first 4 to 25. Tough serve to handle from Thayer Hall. Florida sends the free ball over. Morgan Cole behind her, and Chesney McClellan with a kill.
Great job by McClellan to swing high in the seam of the block. That's where you're going to find more space. If you swing low, you're going to get stuff blocked, but there was some space high in that seam, and she found it.
Chesney McClellan taking advantage of that length, had 5 kills and hit .313 in the loss to LSU last week.
Marley Monserrat does a great job going to get this tight pass and setting it up to Lauren Dooley. She didn't even have the blocker fully in front of her. She had a lot of court to swing at as well.
Cole again to McClellan. Florida block there to meet her that time. A hitting error from Auburn. Point falls down.
McClellan is finding some space in between the blockers when she's swinging over on that side. So that's the second time she's been able to get a kill in between the blockers.
She's pretty versatile too. Rick Nold has used her in the middle and then moved her to the right side and changed the lineup for whatever they need to work at that time.
And you have to admire the players just saying, I'll do whatever you need me to do, coach. I'll play wherever you need me to play. And like we said earlier, they're still playing hard.
Chesney McClellan with 3 kills for Auburn on the night so far. That one will be called for 2 on Morgan Cole. And you actually heard that one. That wasn't a surprise call. It wasn't a surprise to her either. She was on the move.
Yeah, it was an errant pass. So she was just trying to keep it in play and then just couldn't help but double it.
Well, that one is a perfect pass. A little mistimed. It looks like Florida was in the net on that one, so Auburn will get it. That'll be a net call on Rachel Kramer.
Auburn got another good pass. Morgan Cole was able to set up Shayna White. So if the passing for Auburn can continue to stay strong, then Auburn can do some strong things offensively.
And that's really been the story for them all year long. They've struggled to pass and struggled to do anything offensively when you don't have a pass.
When you see Paige Hammonds, she doesn't have a very large frame, but she hits the ball with some pace. She just hit that last ball hard enough that Tatum Shipes couldn't get out of the way. It was going out of bounds. So it's really neat to see a player that isn't all muscle. Of course, maybe that's all she is some thin muscle, but to hit with that much power.
Coach Mary Wise raved about her high volleyball IQ as well. How much that helps her.
And she has just improved so much through her time at Florida. And it's really neat to see the growth of players as they go from year to year. And she's someone that's been there through a lot with the Gators, and she's a big part of the Florida success.
A nice rally we had going on there, and it's Lily Thomason, the freshman from Auburn, who's able to end it from outside. How about this swing, Jenny?
And Lily Thomason, according to Rick Nold, she's got a very quick arm. She's got a great arm, so she can really get on the ball kind of fast. So did a nice job of again, hitting the right area in between the blockers to get the kill. And so they got that point, of course. Then they turn around and get this point as Marley Monterey's in the net. She expected a blocker to be there, so she would have to push a little bit, and she pushed and got the net.
A nice up from Auburn, but what a kill from Rachel Kramer off the slide.
That kill from Rachel Kramer was coming at such a sharp angle. It was going to land probably in front of the 3-meter line. So that shows you a lot about how high she reaches, the angles that she's able to attack.
Also shows you how athletic she is for 6'8". The 6'8" senior just moves so well.
And what's really neat about her story, too, is that she has been primarily in the M2, so that's the middle that's not with the front row setter for 2 out of 3 rotations. There's only 1 rotation that she's with a front row setter, so she's used to staying in front more. So she ran behind on that. She's in the M1 where she has to run a lot more behind the setter, so she's worked hard to develop her game in that area.
Coach Mary Wise said something that stood out to me, too. She said it's easy to give credit to her length, obviously, at 6'8", but she's one of the most intelligent players on this entire roster.
They also call her the grandma of the team.
She takes care of everybody.
That's right.
That's big for this Florida program, too, is help the younger players out. Make sure you teach them, mentor them, so that this program stays where it is, which is one of the top programs in the country. And Florida, that certainly happens.
Yes, Florida's had that for years. Their top players mentor the younger ones, and it's just why they continue to be an elite team.
Chesney McClellan, that big block on the right side, 6'4" junior, able to get a piece of that. Goes out of bounds, and Florida will get the ball back. They lead 23-16 in this first set. A big swing from the freshman outside. Finds the court.
Lily Thomason again just swinging hard and at the edges of the block. And that's something that players learn along the way. A lot of times in club and high school, players that are higher level can just go up and swing and get kills. They don't have to think about where to hit it. But that high, off the hands of the block swing, that's really smart on her part.
Monserrat behind her head, and it's tough to dig out Holly Carlton.
Holly Carlton, the lefty, had plenty of space in between the blockers, takes a good swing and puts it down in front of the defender. She knew she had the space to swing down.
Yeah, Jaden Brown in the middle, number 8 for Auburn, just a little late there on that block. She's been battling a quad injury. You see it all taped up. That could have something to do with it. It's tough to get over there. A nice hustle from Florida, and what a swing out of the back.
Thayer Hall puts an emphasis on that last swing to get the kill and take set 1.
Florida, Thayer Hall with 2 kills in that set.
Great year as well.
Really
so that's why Kentucky is so strong too.
Florida 12-2 in the SEC. Their only 2 losses coming to the Kentucky Wildcats. Now, Kentucky has also lost 2 in the SEC, so that means, let's say both teams win out the rest of the way, they will share the SEC championship.
Yes, and that may seem odd because Kentucky has beaten Florida twice, but in the SEC they don't play a double round robin where they play everybody twice, so there's not an equitable schedule. And so there could be years where, a team has an easier road or a tougher road outside of when they're playing each other. So they just say, if the records are the same, we're going to have a shared title.
And that's exactly what happened in 2016. It was Florida and Missouri. It happened in 2017 when it was Kentucky and Florida, and then Kentucky won it outright last year. So we will keep an eye on that as we finish off the regular season. We are in the second set here in Auburn. Florida won the first one 25-17, hit 333 in that match, but Auburn actually finished with more kills in the first set, Jenny.
They just also had more errors than Florida did. So
And we're already seeing that in this second set.
That's right. Auburn had 14 kills, Florida had 13, but Auburn also had 7 attacking errors to just 2 for Florida, and that's a big difference. But the fact that Auburn's able to score their own points with kills, that bodes well for Auburn.
How about that? Marley Monserrat just feeding Lauren Dooley. Perfect pass, perfect set. That's just textbook, Jenny.
And Lauren Dooley just to have such a fantastic season. She was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week earlier in the season, but she can score offensively as well.
Hitting .372, second on the team. When we asked head coach Mary Wise what she's improved on the most, she said absolutely everything from last year. She's very proud because she didn't have as much experience maybe as some of the other players coming in. Didn't play as many club matches coming in, and Mary Wise said she has just improved everywhere. Thayer Hall serving for Florida. 8 service points for Thayer in this match.
Make that the 9th time that Florida has scored when Thayer Hall's behind the service line. And those kinds of things, when players can go back there and go on runs of points, that is invaluable when it comes to NCAA tournament.
Well, you have your solid back row in this rotation, and then you have Holly Carlton on the right side, Lauren Dooley in the middle, and then Paige Hammonds on the outside. That is a tough front line to defend. A nice hustle from Florida, but Tatum Shipes is able to find the kill.
Substitution for the Tigers, checking in number 14.
Tatum Shipes struggled in the first set with errors. She had the most for Auburn, 5 errors, but she did have 3 kills, so maybe trying to mix up her shots a little bit more, make fewer errors.
No touch on that one. That'll be 4. Auburn gets that point. Katie Persons back to serve. Sophomore defensive specialist for the Auburn Tigers puts it in play. Monserrat puts it up with a nice set from Allie Gregory, and the kill from Holly Carlton.
And again, that 6-7 length for Holly Carlton just hits it high in the seam of the blockers into that deep corner. And I thought it was interesting when Mary Wise first started talking about Holly Carlton, when she first transferred to Florida, she said that she had set more in her career than she had been hitting. So she had been a setter longer than she was a hitter. So the fact that she is the type, the elite hitter that she is now is even more impressive.
I think it's crazy that Carlton was just 5'8" at the start of her freshman year in high school, and then was 6'2" by November of that year. So kind of explains why she moves so well.
That's right.
She hasn't always been tall, or that tall.
And was, I'm sure, playing a ton of sports while she was growing, so was able to continue to stay agile and do the things she needed to do for her sport.
As Holly Carlton puts the ball in play for the Gators, she's hitting .297 in SEC play. Auburn gets it back, pulls it to within 3 in the second set. Substitution for Florida, Riley Fisher, sophomore defensive specialist from Kennesaw, Georgia, steps in to play the back row for the Gators.
You mentioned going to Florida camps when you were younger. Well, that was Riley Fisher. She grew up going to Florida camps. She loved everything about the Gators, and so the fact that she's getting to play for them now is really special.
A nice touch from Fisher, but Auburn will get that point.
And that ball just goes through the hands of Marley Monserrat. She was a little wide blocking, so not able to get a good touch.
From the back row, Thayer Hall, nice up from Auburn. and the
Jaden
two
Brown,
call will come.
Yeah, she was trying to be the setter in that situation. And, you know, most coaches
See
will
Rick
tell
Nold?
you.
He's like,
The middles always want to be the setter. They will tell you that in practice. Hey, coach, I can do it. And she had her moment, and she got called for the double.
Cole pushes it outside, and Lily Thomason finds her 6th kill of the night.
And another hard-driven swing by Thomason. I love to see the hustle from Florida. They don't take anything for granted. They know that Auburn is battling, and they're not going to go away easy, so they're going hard after every ball.
Monserrat to the outside. Block gets a piece of it. She'll send it back out there again to Hall. Auburn again responds. Hall into the block. That's set a little inside.
It was, but we're going to have a net violation called on Auburn.
Take a look at it.
You definitely see Jaden Brown, her arm in the net. Chesney
She saw it
McClellan,
too.
And Chesney McClellan turned around and smiled at her and said, "That was you."
Florida took set 1. They lead set 2, 10-7 in this best of 5. First 4 we play to 25. Florida finds the court on that one. Makes it 11-7.
The setter dump by Morgan Cole was not successful, but Marley Monserrat said, "I can show you how to do that."
Cole behind her head, the block, waiting for Chesney McClellan. That ball goes long, point Florida.
And that set looked a little bit tight. So Lily Thomason is trying to just keep the ball in play when it's tight, probably going for hands, but hits it long.
Senior defensive specialist Chanel Hargraves in to score. Sister to former Gator and now Houston Texans corner Vernon Hargraves. Athletic family. She gets the point. Rick Nold wants to talk about it. We'll take it too. Timeout Auburn. A lot of fans here on College Street in Auburn, Alabama on Saturday because we've got another full slate of college football for you right here on the SEC Network. And number 12, Auburn hosts Samford at noon right here on the Plains. UT Martin, Kentucky, the Wildcats looking to become bowl eligible. That's at 3:30, and it's Tennessee and Missouri at 7:30. Also some SEC Network alternate channel games, Vanderbilt and Mississippi State games. You can find those channels in your area at secnetwork.com. The timeout works for Rick Nold. Auburn immediately responding with a point.
Chesney McClellan has been a bright spot for Auburn in the opposite. She's got a few kills on there, and that was, you know, a little bit of a back and forth rally, and she was able to score that final point.
Peyton White, junior defensive specialist, in to serve for Auburn. 8 digs last week against LSU. Florida gets it back.
Now, Val Green has also come into the lineup for Auburn on the outside.
Val Green sends that one out, point Florida.
And just a sophomore, so likely this is Val Green's first time to play against Florida. That looked like a little bit of a nervous swing to me.
Played in just one set against LSU on Sunday. And there's that big Florida block. Nothing's getting over that. Florida on a 7-1 run now.
I actually think that ball was able to sneak between the blockers.
Oh, it did come back.
Yeah, so credit Jaden Brown. The undersized middle gets the kill between two of the tallest players on the court.
Jaden Brown, 6 feet tall, out of Hollywood, Florida, battling a quad injury. Auburn responds with a service error, and Florida will get it back. The overpass for Auburn, point Florida.
Anytime that ball enters into the invisible plane above the net, if the setter is back row and tries to play it and the opposing team touches it, that is a back row block on Auburn. So that's why that call's made.
Substitution for Auburn as Katie Persons comes in to serve for the Tigers. 5'3" sophomore. 7 digs on the air. What a swing for Florida.
And a different look for Holly Carlton. That time they brought her in closer to the setter. So most of the sets to Carlton have been out to that antenna, the right antenna, but that time they brought her in closer to the setter. So nice job to just mix up the look that Auburn is getting from Carlton.
Oh, Carlton hitting 500 right now in this match.
How about Shayna White getting the stuff block on Rachel Kramer. Kramer has been one of the most successful middles in the SEC. So definitely credit to Shayna White for, in a one-on-one, getting the stuff.
Monserrat to Carlton again. Kill number 6.
There continues to be a lot of space between the blockers over on that right pin where Carlton is swinging. And that time it just looked like the blocker on the outside, freshman Lily Thomason, was drifting out and created that space.
Cole trying to get Auburn going. Nice dig from Florida. They'll go to the back row attack, and Thayer Hall puts it down.
Well, speaking of the back row attack, Mary Wise said earlier in the season they used to use it just more out of necessity when they just had to, but now they're trying to make it a big part of their offensive game plan to set the back row.
And Rachel Kramer is going to find the back line.
Again with the slide, the one-footed takeoff behind the setter, something that Rachel Kramer has not always done in her career because she hasn't been in the position where she's next to the setter 2 out of 3 rotations, but she looks very comfortable doing that now.
Hitting .474 the last 7 matches.
Shayna White turns around and does the same thing on a slide, takes a big swing, tons of space down the line. She sees it and she takes advantage of it.
Auburn trying to hang in there as Florida leads 21-12. Monserrat using the platform, and what a swing for Paige Hammonds.
And Paige Hammonds recognizing that she has the smaller blocker in Morgan Cole in front of her. Morgan Cole is maybe 5'7". She's not very tall. She jumps well, has long arms, but just huge size advantage for Paige Hammonds.
She's listed at 5'9". Are you saying that volleyball heights aren't always accurate?
You know, I'm going to have to say no.
Morgan Cole really done a lot for this Auburn team, though. Rick Knoll said she knows the scouting report like nobody else on this team. Substitution for Florida is Paula Sarame steps in to play the back row.
And typically Paige Hammond stays in the back row, but Paula Sarame getting some time here. Definitely, you never know when, especially in the NCAA, when you might need more people. So it's very smart of Mary Wise to try to get some other players some playing time, because again, you can't expect to go in the NCAA tournament and not face adversity. And so we've seen a couple substitutions.
Yeah, number 9, Mia Sokolowski, also jumping in, the junior outside hitter, 6'4". Looking to get some playing time. She sent that free ball over to Auburn. Morgan Cole back to Chesney McClellan. The nice up from Hargraves. And there's a swing from Mia. And a kill.
What a way to come into a match. Your first attempt is a kill. Of course, the back row right now for Florida, 3 very strong defensive players, so they can keep the ball off the floor quite a bit.
Set point for Florida. Big block. Just falls out. Auburn will stay in this. Monterey to the outside. That ball goes long. Auburn with another point.
Well, Auburn has targeted Paula Sarame in serve receive since she's been put in. So smart choice by the Tigers to go after her since she hadn't been playing. Of course, that time it was Riley Fisher with the tight pass. Marley Monterey, the front row setter, but she does not win the joust. And setters typically win the joust. So it's good job by Auburn.
Peyton White still serving for the Auburn Tigers. That one falls in. Ace for White.
New players in the passing pattern. Of course, there's going to be some miscommunication. That ball was close, but it was in.
The longest run for Auburn tonight, a 4-0 run. Florida wants a touch on that one, and they'll get it.
Despite some struggles, we're going to actually have a challenge here by Rick Nold because he doesn't believe there was a touch. It was the up official that made the call, not the linesman.
First and second rounds, December 5th is when they start. Regionals, December 13th through the 14th. And obviously you can catch the rest of the tournament on ESPNU.
And so much still left to happen down the stretch. So we talked about the importance of the top 16 seeds. Volleyball only seeds 16 teams, and those teams host the first and second rounds. Well, then the top 4 seeds are also very important because those teams, who the highest remaining seeds, host the regional rounds. And so right now you've got Texas and Baylor playing each other. They were in the committee's top 4 when they revealed a few weeks ago. So, you know, Wisconsin still has to play Nebraska. They were in the top 4. Stanford, you know, they've got the Pac-12 to go through. So there's still a lot of important matches coming up that can help determine those seeds.
Talk about it on the Selection Show ESPNU, 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern, December 1st. Nice kill, by the way, there from Holly Carlton, and her now 7th on the night for Florida.
And she leads all Florida players with 7 kills.
And Florida with 3 players with 5+ kills. A nice pass from the Gators. That ball falls. Florida will get it back. A change for Auburn in their lineup, too, as we see number 22, Lauren Durrell, step in for the Tigers.
She's the transfer from Colorado. She was out earlier in the season, concussion protocol, so they really thought she would make a big impact early on, but then she had to sit most of the first part of the season.
A quick rotation for her. Watched her a little bit in practice today, though, really moving well, swinging well. I know Rick Nold is just looking for anything to kind of change up their lineup, give them a spark, get them to score points somehow, and that's really what they have struggled with this year. Shayna White doesn't struggle with that, though.
And Shayna White has been so solid in this match. She has 5 kills now with just 1 error. When the first contact is there, Morgan Cole's doing a nice job of feeding the middle.
And a big block from White and Cole on the right side.
Paige Hammonds that time having the smaller blocker called, but goes more in the direction of Shayna White. Maybe trying to go sharper cross, but Shayna White took that away.
Monserrat back behind, a nice touch from Katie Persons.
That ball was dug just tight, and Morgan Colt tried to get over there to challenge at the net, but she just couldn't get there in time.
Point for Florida. They lead this third set by 1 after taking the first 2 sets by the same score, 25-17. They also hit 333 in both of the first 2 sets. The touch called on that one, point Florida.
And that's another instance of an in-system set decision to go to the back row and find Thayer Hall. And having that 4th attacker coming out of the back row in Thayer Hall. And I say 4th because even though your setter's front row, she can attack. So you have 3 front row players that can score, and then Thayer Hall can score out of the back row. So it's just going to be something that's very important for Florida in the NCAA tournament.
Thayer Hall certainly playing well right now. Hit 367 versus Kentucky, hitting 400 tonight against Auburn. Lily Thomason back in the front row, back and outside for Auburn, and she finds a big block from that Florida front row.
Yeah, that's a freshman learning you cannot swing low seam.
No.
When you get to the college level, that is a shot that is just not going to be available. She hit it very low right into the blocker's hands.
Goes high and learns from it. On that, finds the kill.
And that's part of the learning process. She's learning on the fly as a freshman out on the court. Still big blockers in front of her, but she hit that ball high. So as you mentioned, great adjustment.
Monserrat to Rachel Kramer, kill.
Rachel Kramer's consistency on the slide has come along so much. I remember I had their regional in 2017, and she really struggled on the slide, and she had a tough time running that play. And this year, she's looked fantastic.
Rachel Kramer, 3-time All-SEC selection, has her bachelor's degree in 3 years in marketing, and is now going to finish off her master's in international business. Smart cookie.
Yes, and it's no surprise that she's one of the high volleyball IQ players on this team because she is just super intelligent.
Well, Hall with the off-system, out-of-system set, and still puts it down.
Yeah, it just took a little bit off and hit it just inside the blocker's hands. And since she didn't hit it quite as hard, just dropped in front of the Auburn defenders.
Free ball for Auburn. Cole sends it outside. The tip from Thomason was out.
Thomason was trying to go long that time with the tip, but just pushes it too much.
Marley Monserrat, the sophomore setter for Florida, back to serve, finds the ace.
And that is a great float serve. It barely goes over the net tape. It drops as it's coming to the passer. Those are really hard to pass.
Head coach Mary Wise talked about her strength, it's her athleticism, but she's one of the most improved players this year on this team. No freshmen on this Florida team. See a lot of improvement in their sophomores that are in this starting lineup. Rick Nold wants to stop the Florida momentum. Timeout Auburn. We're back after this. Beautiful night in Auburn, Alabama. So far, a beautiful night for Florida volleyball. as they take the first 2 sets 25-17 and lead this third. Hey, don't forget Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, SEC Nation, the traveling pregame show. They're in Athens for Texas A&M and number 4 Georgia. It's Laura, Marty, Marcus, Paul, and Tim. Such a good show. They'll break down everything for week 13 of the college football season. SEC Nation presented by Academy Sports, and that's right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Auburn looking to switch things up a little bit in the lineup. If you look at what they have going in their front row right now, Lily Thomason, the freshman outside hitter, was swinging on the right side there. Lauren Durrell hitting outside for them.
Yeah, and they stay in this rotation. Of course, they're overlapping right now, so we'll see if the down ref's going to call it. He did not. That's fine.
You don't want to point that out. Come on, Tinny. Oh, nice swing from Florida. Gets the touch and the point.
What a high swing off the hands of the block. And that's, again, the things that players learn at, you know, a lot of times when they're younger. Thayer Hall, for sure, when she was younger, she could just swing away and get kills. And, of course, I said they were overlapping. Actually, I was wrong, because Chesney McClellan is in the opposite. She's not in the middle. So they had put...
Even though she was playing middle in that rotation.
Yep,
yes.
So she is playing middle right now, but she's not lined up in the middle position. She is in the opposite position.
Great hustle from Florida to get that ball back over the net. And again, some scrappy play from the Gators. Auburn answering with their own scrappy play. Yeah, that'll be a call in the net. How about this, though? Look at some of the defense from these teams during that rally. Look at this one.
That's a great short tip. And then just for Monterey to get that pancake dig, keep the ball alive, you know, that all-out hustle. And we've seen that from both of these teams tonight.
Yeah, Coach Mary Wise said her strengths are athleticism. You saw that on that dig from Monterey. Big block from the Auburn Tigers. Chesney McClellan is up there, and that's a point for Auburn. Monterey trying to handle that tight pass. That's a tough one. She's able to pop it up, but Florida not able to do anything with it, and Auburn now pulls it to within 4.
And we're seeing that fight from Auburn that coaches in the SEC have seen. They don't give up easily. They're not just, they haven't won an SEC match, but they're still coming out and playing hard.
Monterey, a quick set to Lauren Dooley for the kill.
And a nice high set by Monterey for Dooley at 6'6". Again, when you've got those taller players, you've got to get the ball up at their peak where they can get a good high swing. Monterey's doing a great job of that.
And Dooley's doing a great job hitting .571 in this match for the Gators. Peyton White, what a dig for Auburn. Florida answering. Cole, the quick, what an up. Allie Gregory keeps this one alive. The tip ball from Paige Hammonds. They'll call a 2 on Auburn, Florida point.
Another nice defensive layout, but this ball, it's 2 touches by Chesney McClellan. Probably could have called a lift on that first one as well.
Monterey again to Holly Carlton.
Holly Carlton has just been phenomenal in this match. And as a coach, you love to see a player respond this way after she felt like she just wasn't in rhythm in their match Sunday against Kentucky. And for her to come out and look so strong here today, that's outstanding.
Yeah, Holly Carlton certainly feeling the rhythm in this one with 9 kills, just 1 error, hitting .500 in this match. Florida now leading 18-10. They took the first 2 sets and lead it 2-0. looking to finish this third set to possibly sweep the Auburn Tigers. Auburn hanging in there. Chesney McClellan a kill.
McClellan has been doing a really nice job. Anytime she's up and ready, she's been able to score points, and it's been good for Auburn to have some production out of the middle.
Monterey with some options, and she picks Holly Carlton on that one.
And why not? Holly Carlton has been fantastic. We talked about how it's difficult, her being a lefty and blockers getting lined up correctly. You know, her attacking shoulder is obviously her left one, and so the pin blocker, the one that's out wider, has to come in a little bit. And you know, a lot of times blockers have a hard time with that if they're not used to going against a lefty.
Well, Shayna White in middle of number 4 for Auburn. 69 blocks coming into this one. She leads the Auburn team in blocks, but Holly is just tough to stop. Florida using their heads, keep this rally alive. Oh, nice hustle from Cole to get that ball up. How does Florida respond? Oh, yeah, down the line. Haven't seen that a ton from her in this game, but Carlton puts it down the line.
You talked about the ball off the head. Carlton gets blocked, and it goes right off Rachel Kramer's head. Kept in play, and then ultimately Florida wins the round.
Hey, good thing Rachel Kramer is 6'8", because she was in the perfect position to keep that rally alive. Big play from the senior there. Coach told us, she talked about how smart she is, how intellectual she is.
Yep, using her head in different ways.
There you go. All right, let's talk big picture SEC right now. And we could talk all night about Leah Edmond and what she has been able to do for Kentucky this season. And a big reason that they were able to beat Florida in a 5-set match that was just thrilling on Sunday. 30 kills, a career high. I mean, someone like that who comes to play when it really matters.
Definitely worthy of the AVCA National Player of the Week, because not only did she go into Gainesville and say, we're going to do all we can to get this win on the road. By the way, Leah Edmond has never lost in Gainesville.
Wow.
That senior class.
That's hard to do.
In the last 4 years, they've won in Gainesville every year, and just fantastic play. And you know, just a lot of good things happening in the SEC.
Hey, by the way, you called Texas A&M as the surprise team this year, and you were dead on. You called it when we were there at the beginning of the year, and you were dead on. How about this? Hoop season is here Friday. Number 9 Kentucky hosts Mount St. Mary's in a non-conference matchup at Rupp Arena. And then 6 Central right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. How about that? The Auburn Tigers men's basketball team in support of this Auburn volleyball team. Good to see them here. Of course, they share this arena with the volleyball team.
One of the guys even holding the volleyball. Maybe we can convert him.
I like it. Like the support. Morgan Cole laying out for that one, but Peyton White just couldn't handle it. Had a little spin on it and couldn't send it over.
Yeah, and I think she wasn't sure if the first touch was technically a block touch or a defensive touch, because it was the blocker, but it was a little bit below the plane of the net. I think that's why she tried to go over on that contact.
A nice pass from Peyton. And a nice kill from Tatum Shipe. She's been quiet since this first set.
Yeah, she's spent some time on the bench, and Rick Knoll just letting her kind of gather herself, get some composure, and you know, she's really been able to come back and respond. We're also going to see Marissa Hines, the other setter for Auburn, get in the match here as well.
Rick Knoll just switching up his lineup left and right, trying to find something for this Auburn Tigers team. And we'll find an ace from Katie Persons.
That was a great deep serve right on the end line. Florida thought it was out, but it landed just in.
Another deep serve. Florida handles that one. And again, another kill from Holly Carlton. Her 13th kill on the night.
She has definitely had just a strong match from start to finish.
13 kills, 1 error on 20 attempts, which means she's hitting 600 right now. That's ridiculous. Florida in the net on that, and Auburn will get a point.
Morgan Greer is in the outside hitter position. She's the player that was in the net. Of course, Mary Wise has the green card, but she is talking to the official. When it happened live, I thought she was in the net as well. And my guess is she's saying that if the ball hits the net, it can't cause the net to go into a player. It wouldn't be a net violation.
Well, let's take another look here.
It's a clear
I think
net
she was
violation.
in the net, yeah. But you can see with where the ball was, with the placement, with the speed of this game,
Yep.
you can see why.
Yeah, the set was
you would
tight.
question it.
The set was tight. She felt like it looked like the blockers were there. Maybe it, maybe she even thought it was the opponents in the net. But
So the initial ruling, the net violation, Jared Rand, our replay official, confirming that ruling.
it's always funny to me when players say, "I don't know if I was in the net." How can you not know? How can you not feel that? Maybe if it's the smallest touch, but
Well,
like
I
that,
was going to say,
surely she felt
the
it.
game is fast, right? Sometimes you think maybe it's the ball. Florida took the first 2 sets in the best of 5 here at Auburn, and now they lead it 23-14.
And Rachel Kramer continuing to be dominant on the slide. Perfect set. She knows where the blockers are, just comes inside of the block down in front of the defenders.
And you had 2 defenders there ready to dig that ball. You just couldn't do it. Nice decision from Marissa Hines to get the ball back for Auburn.
Yeah, Marissa Hines is definitely a little bit taller, listed at 6 foot. So she can be offensive when she's in the front row. That was a nice job going over on 2.
Yeah, Marissa Hines, number 12 in orange, a Wyoming transfer. Her mom and sister both played college volleyball. So it is in the family.
And another net violation is going to be called on Florida. And this time it was on the opposite. Haley Warner, she's come into the match in the opposite. Now she's in Marley Monserrat's spot. Holly Carlton is setting, but she shook her head. Yes, I was in the net.
And a nice set from Carlton, quick set. And then there's that Florida block that falls out of bounds. Auburn hanging in there.
We mentioned Holly Carlton being a setter a lot of her life, and that's what she's doing in these 3 rotations.
Clearly pretty comfortable with it. Comfortable enough to run the quick set with Rachel Kramer, and that's a kill.
It's definitely a lot quicker time from the ball leaving the setter's hands to going into the attacker's hand, and when you have the 2 tallest players on the team, one setting up the other.
Yeah, Holly Carlton, 6'7", setting up 6'8", Rachel Kramer. Match point for the Florida Gators. And they get it. 35th sweep all time versus Auburn for Florida.
How about Florida coming on the road after what would be an upsetting loss to Kentucky, and they still came